tell me why this is the dumbest idea you've ever heard and why this is going to crash and burn. And you know what? It's an absolute savage. It'll tell me why I'm the stupidest thing it's ever seen and blah, 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 blah.
Hey there, and welcome to a brand new episode of Delivering Marketing Joy. I am your host, Kirby Hassman, and joining me today is a brand new rock star. I'm super excited to dive into the topics today. He's a self-proclaimed data nerd. I absolutely love that. He's a speaker, and he's the co-CEO of Right Metrics, Charlie Grinnell. Thanks so much for joining me, buddy.
Thanks for having me. Excited to be here.
Absolutely. So I want to dive right in. I saw something that you said that I really liked, and it said that if we ran our marketing department like another company, it would be better. So what would a company do differently if their marketing team was run by Netflix?
Netflix. So I feel like everyone listening to this knows about Netflix. I think what I mean by that when I say running your marketing organization like Netflix, I actually mean marketing like a media company. Now, we've probably heard this phrase, marketing like a media company, and everyone's going, okay, Charlie, like what does that actually mean? There's a few things. Number one, I don't think a lot of people realize it, but Netflix spends an insane amount of time obsessing over the behavior of their audience, right? So the stuff that they're putting out there that hooks us all in, that we love to binge watch, that isn't by accident. That's not just them sitting there and going, oh, maybe they'll like Squid Games, maybe they'll like adolescence, maybe they'll like XYZ things. All of that comes from insane amounts of data. So I think that's one thing is a lot of people and marketers specifically go, oh, wow, Netflix. And everyone kind of has this Hollywood like lens on it. Like, oh, they're just chef's kiss, like perfect tastemakers. No. Make no mistake about it. They have a huge data science team that sits there all day, every day and obsesses over the behavior of human beings and the psychology of human beings to create content. So that's number one. It starts with reading signals and not just like looking at numbers and getting an understanding to build around that. Number two is they think about audiences, not campaigns, right? So most marketers think in terms of a calendar. Oh, okay, we're doing this campaign here and we're doing this campaign here and we're going to do this campaign here. And Netflix's whole thing is we are always on, we are always talking, and how can we build audiences and continue to earn that audience attention, right? Over and over and over again. And so I think that mindset as marketers is something that regardless of whether you're selling sugar water or yoga pants or tires, I think marketers need to have that mindset when they're thinking about what are we saying? Because as marketers, we can't just always say, hey, buy now, right? It's like asking to take someone home on the first date. Doesn't really work that way. And so I think this idea of thinking longer term and thinking, hey, how can we provide different types of value through our interaction with customers? And that might mean they're not going to buy for a long time. And now I can hear, the people in the background being like, but I have my sales numbers or my quarter, I got to report on this. I totally understand that. But the idea is once you get this thing kind of working in that way, you'll be able to kind of harvest the fruit on a cadence, so to speak, that is easier. So when I think about, marketing like a media company, I always think about Netflix. And I think any company out there, regardless if you're in B2B or B2C, you can learn a ton from the way that they approach marketing from a mindset perspective.
Yeah, man, I think that's really interesting, and I'm always curious when you say that because I have a book called The Give First Economy and providing value up front, and that's one of the pushbacks that I get sometimes is like, well, but I need to sell now, and I'm like, well, but nobody said you can't make offers today. It just shifts the way that you look at trying to build a long-term relationship, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, well, there's your book. There's Gary Vaynerchuk's book back in the day. It was jab, 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 right hook. It's like give, ask. And so I think that's the thing. Like we as marketers sit there being like, oh, well, I have to kind of always go in for the ask. And it's like, yeah, but you haven't earned the right for the ask. So I completely agree. I think you hit the nail on the head.
I love that. Okay. AI. Right? Like it is the topic, and it should be because it's changing so much, but some marketers are using AI just too much, right? And some have their head completely in the sand. So you have said, I love this. Why do you think marketers should treat AI like a frenemy?
Yeah, I was thinking about this, and this came from a conversation with a friend of mine where we were kind of having a passionate debate at the dinner table one night about AI, and I am very I'm a tech nerd. I love it, right? So I'm like, this is awesome. I do think this is going to be a net positive for
Yeah.
humanity, society, etc. Now, I have some friends of mine who are like, hey, keep this thing away from me over my dead body. And I think the punchline is we're both right. And I think this idea of frenemy is kind of like where that word frenemy is just what came to me. And so uh, I think a couple things. Number one, this is happening.
Yeah,
Full
for
stop.
sure.
Like the amount of
Yeah.
people who think that this isn't happening, there are too many incentives, commercial incentives, financial incentives. It's also deep psychological incentives for us. Like at our core, humans, we're lazy, right? We're
Yeah,
always going to find
right.
something out. So it's like not only are big corporations going to make a ton of money from this, little corporations can have efficiency gains from this. And from a society and psychological perspective, of course, we would like to have more time to do other things that might not be worth our time, right? So I think all of that stuff is true. So now it can't be, hey, I don't want to have to participate in this. It's like, this is happening. Okay. So now what are we going to do about it? And so I think when it comes to it being a frenemy, specifically, let's bring it into the world of marketing. We start to see I have this phrase that I use with my team: garbage in, garbage out. And what it does is what AI is great at is giving you an answer. Everyone already knows this. You type something into AI, it'll always give you an answer back. Now, that can be a friendly thing. That can also be your worst enemy side of things. Because if you put something bad in there, oh, will it do a good job of amplifying that bad and making it multiply? But if you put really great things in there, it can be a wicked tool for you to amplify your genius or your organization's genius. I think that the key is what I just talked about, inputs and outputs, is getting really, really clear with the inputs. And I actually think what it's taught me in using it is how can I become a better thinker? So
Yes.
breaking things down into parts, breaking things down into first principles. I always use it to get it to poke holes in my argument. So I might, come up with something and be like, oh, I'm going to talk to Kirby about this. And I'll write it all out and I'll feel really good about it. And then I'll do this. I'll go, tell me why this is the dumbest idea you've ever heard and why this is going to crash and burn. And you know what? It's an absolute savage. It'll tell me
Yeah.
why I'm the stupidest thing it's ever seen and blah, 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 blah. But even me thinking, it's pushing me to go, hey, now poke holes in this. I wouldn't have necessarily thought about that before. I might have been in my own echo chamber, just kind of, in my own world, loving it. So I think that this idea of inputs is really, really important. And I'll take the one final point I want to make on this is specifically to copywriters. I have a bunch of friends who work in copy in various marketing organizations. And when this first came out, they were freaking out.
Yeah.
Like,
for
what
sure.
do I do? What do I do? I'm a big believer in the phrase writing is thinking, and therefore good writing is good thinking. And, you as someone who's written a book, good writing equals good thinking, right?
Yeah.
And so I think that the cool thing about where we're at with AI right now is the primary way that we interact with it is written. And that is such an asset for people who work in copy because they're already good writers if they're working, if that's their full-time job. And good writing is good thinking. And good thinking allows you to, be above everybody else. So I actually think a lot of writers have a really, really great leg up on many other knowledge workers. And what I've tried to do since kind of, the rise of ChatGPT and AI coming out is I've been really focusing on how can I become a better writer. Now, when I say become a better writer, I don't mean becoming a better prompt writer. Like prompting is a type of writing, sure, but getting really, really clear on how can I clearly articulate myself in a way that is specific and easy to understand and et cetera, et cetera. So I think the future is writing. And when we think about it like that, I've used that in conversations with people before where it just kind of takes the edge off instead of like the robots are coming to kill us.
Yeah. And I agree with you in the sense that it's forced me to get more clear about my directions. And friends of mine have taught me how to do better. Like, I think it takes a self-aware person to ask it to tell me why I'm wrong. Right?
Totally.
Because most people just won't do that. Right.
Yep.
And so I think that being open to that, and then, as you said, the inputs are so powerful. So yeah, that's really good stuff. So why do you think the best marketers are actually stalkers. I love that. It's a little caustic, but man, I think it's true.
I say it half jokingly, but I also I think there's a ton of truth in it. And make no mistake about it. My company now, we work with some of the biggest companies in the world, and guess what? All of them are doing? They're stalking. They're looking, right? We sit here. You don't think Apple's doing this? You don't think Nike's doing this? Like all of them are looking around the market to see what's going on. And so when I think about stalkers, what I mean by that is I used that Netflix example earlier. They study behavior relentlessly, right? And so they're quietly watching people, not in a creepy way. What they're trying to do is how can they use that to create better experiences for the people that they're trying to reach. And what I think is really, really valuable for us as marketers in 2025 and beyond is we don't even have to talk to people to get an understanding of what they do, right? Like it used to be, okay, let's get a bunch of weirdos in a room, put them into a focus group, incentivize them, they lie to us, and then we'll take that as gospel and turn around and spend millions of dollars on marketing that probably doesn't work, right? Now we can actually see, because of all of these devices, we can see what we're doing, how long, all of these sorts of things. And it's just an amazing data set that teaches us things that we didn't even really know about ourselves. And there are things today that we will do on these devices that we will never say out loud to another human being. And we will definitely not answer or be truthful about what we're doing on those devices when we're asked about it. And I think that's really, really fascinating for marketers out there. So number one, it starts with behavior. Number two, looking at your competitors. This is something that there's so much that can be learned from competitors, because you can learn what's working well or what's not working well for them based on what they're doing. With all the different data tools that we have access to, you can see what your competitors are spending. You can see, is it fluctuating up and down? Is it on specific channels? Is it around specific moments? All of these different things are signals. And the beauty of it is you're not having to spend the money. So, whenever you're trying to think about, hey, a new product or a new market or a new whatever, you can kind of look before you leap. And you can potentially save yourself from incinerating a ton of cash. And so I think that, this idea of being a stalker is how can we use all this stuff around us to pull it in into one place so that we can start to get an understanding of how should we focus our limited resources so that we can have the best impact for our business.
Well, and I love it because stalking obviously has a negative connotation, but the idea behind, and I think it all circles around intent. And with the Netflix example, they're gaining data in order to serve us better.
Yeah.
I think when you put it like that, it's like, well, of course we want to do that, right? Because of course we'd want to serve our customers better. So I think when you do it in the service of that, it feels better.
It's so funny you bring that up, right? I always joke about this kind of privacy convenience conversation, right? So everyone remembers when it was like hashtag delete Facebook was trending. And it's like, yeah, but you still use it. You're still scrolling away. We love scrolling away on Instagram and TikTok. We love that Spotify serves up the newest song that we hadn't heard that we love. We love that Starbucks knows that I order XYZ thing and they're giving me a promo for that. Like, it's so funny because I'm like, where do you think that personalization comes from? Like, we love personalization. The most valuable companies in the world are based on personalization. And that all comes from data. And now there is a line behind there of like, what is ethical versus unethical? Totally. But again,
that's intent.
Exactly.
Yeah. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but
no, I love it. Exactly.
I think if you view it through the lens of serving, it does change your perspective, I think.
Yeah, bang on.
So I've seen you say that the marketing industry is often playing it too safe. So can you talk about why you say that and why do you think it's hurting?
Yeah. So my kind of beef with this is it's actually from the rise of performance marketing. And so what I mean by that is, Facebook ads came around in 2012, 2013. We all started most businesses started plowing money into digital advertising. And it was like, oh, you can put $1 in, you get 4. Now, that's been amazing. There have been some huge businesses built off the back of things. I've probably bought some products that I definitely didn't need, but I really love because of that, right? Like it has been this amazing, amplifier of marketing, over the last 10 to 15 years, call it. However, I think that pendulum, as that started to come onto the scene, we as marketers started to communicate to the rest of the organization, hey, there's this thing called performance marketing, and we can attribute every dollar spent and blah, 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 blah. And I think while that was good for a while, now we've started to see that attribution start to kind of waste away because different data sets are going away, et cetera, or it's getting more and more complex. So you'll have multiple platforms taking credit for the same thing. So, hey, Kirby bought this phone. Well, he saw my Facebook ad, my Instagram ad, my TikTok ad, and he searched for something on Google. And guess what? TikTok, Meta, and Google are all going to say that they were the platform that caused the conversion, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Everybody's lying. And so I think what's really interesting is that kind of narrative to the C-suite around, hey, we can put in $1 and make $4. That has now changed behaviors within organizations where behaviors are very focused on, okay, well, this is the game. It's not really going to change. And how can we just put coins into the marketing machine and get it to spit money out for us? And I think what we're watching right now is that kind of model of like the late 20 teens is starting to break because of the data going away, because of the fragmentation of channels, because of the rise of things like podcasting or niche newsletters or AI platforms. Like, we're witnessing this massive fragmentation. And I think what we're starting to see within different organizations is they're going, well, hey, this isn't the safe, like, put my quarter into the machine and it spits out a loonie or $1 for me at the end, right? And so yeah, I think we're looking back on our dashboards and we're going, oh, but we've always kind of done it this way. And I do believe we're going through a seismic shift. And I say seismic shift, not like fast shift, because, it's the Titanic. It's not happening fast. But what we're starting to see is, okay, Google search. Are people going to Google first? Are they going to OpenAI or Gemini? Are they going to TikTok? Are they going to whatever? Like, we're starting to see people change behavior with search. We're starting to see people spend more time on Reddit or on Discord servers. We're starting to see creators have more trust than news. Like, there's so many different things that we're seeing in the world. And so I understand marketers want to play it safe because we've kind of trained the corporate C-suite to be like, well, hey, we're just kind of like optimizing and this is the way marketing is going to go. And I actually think we're going through this big change right now.
That's super. You got food for thought for sure, Charlie. I appreciate that. So, okay, final question for you. It's like my bonus question I've been asking here recently. As you know, we live in the branded merch space. That's one of the big things that my company does.
Yep.
What's the best branded merchandise experience you've ever been a part of, whether you've been giving or receiving?
Yeah, really good question. So I used to work in marketing at Red Bull. And I think when I was at Red Bull, we received an employee gift. And then I also think we were world class at gifting in the way that we did things. So from receiving, it sounds dumb. I'm going to say it out loud. It sounds dumb. They gave us custom engraved like military dog tags with our employee number on them.
Seems
and they
on
weren't
brand.
they weren't like cheap, whatever. Yeah. Like, they were really, like, I still have mine. And it was actually on a piece of, wood. So it was this like thin little piece of wood that is like fully sealed and whatever, with this really nice kind of chain. And I have mine like on a shelf in my living room. It's cool. And they gave that to us at a national meeting where they brought the entire company together. And that was really, really cool. And it was a small little simple thing, but it just, I still have it. And I left that company in 2017. Now on the gifting side of it, Red Bull throws a ton of events, and some of those events are participatory events. Some of those are, for pro athletes in a specific discipline. Either one, they always did a really good job with their merch. So let's say it was a mass event, where it's a running race and there's, X, Y, 1,000 people. They wouldn't go out and buy like cheap, crappy t-shirts. They'd partner with like they'd be like, okay, we're going to get custom made Lululemon t-shirts, and we're going to give Lululemon t-shirts to all the participants in this. So that was number one. And number two is we're going to design them so that they're not these like gross event t-shirts that you wear that day and then you use them to paint your house the rest of your life.
Yes.
Like, they were like, how can we actually make something that in 1 year, 3 years, 5 years, you would want to wear? And so I think about that. They've done a really good job with baseball hats like that too for different events. There are some people that actually collect that merch because it's actually really cool merch. So I think that a few like principles come to mind there. Number one, attention to detail, and like make something that's quality. Like, don't just tick a box as a marketer to be like, we'll get some t-shirts made and like off you go.
Preach
Number
on,
two,
brother.
local relevance. So a lot of the stuff that, whether it was custom trophies for an event, or partnering with like Lululemon is Canadian, I'm Canadian, right? So it was like, cool, we're gonna get these shirts made by Lululemon or whatever. Being really, really specific and taking this big global brand and making it hyper locally relevant. So I said about custom trophies designed by local creators. Oftentimes, we'd be in British Columbia and doing like a snowboard or a ski or a mountain bike event, and we would choose a British Columbian artist to make the first, second, third place things, these really custom cool things. And they're like art pieces, and it's not just like some crappy trophy that they won at a Red Bull event that they look at and then they toss it. It's something that will stay, and that is branding, right? That is marketing,
for sure.
That is mind share. So I love the gifting thing. I'm a sucker for good gifts. I'm also a sucker for dunking and talking smack on bad merch. So it goes both ways.
I love it. Charlie, this has been super fun. I really enjoy it. Where can folks find more information about you?
Yeah, best place to find me is LinkedIn. So just my name, Charlie Grinnell, on LinkedIn, Grinnell. I'm very active on LinkedIn. I made the choice of putting my email on LinkedIn, which I don't know if that's a good or a bad thing. So yeah, feel free to slide into my DMs if you ever have any questions or if I can be helpful, or shoot me an email.
Awesome. Charlie, thank you so much. We'll have to do this again sometime, okay?
Can't wait. Thanks for having me.
All right. That's going to wrap up this edition of Delivering Marketing Joy. We'll see you next time.